So weight management is important because weight can have a significant impact on all elements of one's health, and often it is impactful on things like diabetes. It can increase your risk of diabetes. It can also increase your risk of having high cholesterol levels. It can also increase your risk of having high blood pressure. And this, coupled with genes and inactivity, can have a significant impact on people's metabolic health longer in over a period of time. So weight is something that impacts all sorts of things and can often have endocrinological underpinnings. The healthiest ways to lose weight actually are relatively slowly and keeping that off, and those are the difficult bits, really. So a lot of people want to lose weight rapidly, and we can see why they want to do that. However, that is often not a sustainable way of keeping that weight off. And when we look at the research around weight, what tends to happen is people lose weight and then they put it back on again later on, and that's frustrating, and it's demoralizing for people. It makes it all the more difficult to keep that weight off. So the best way of doing it is actually to do it relatively slowly, and to do it with a view to try and keeping that weight off. And even if you do put the weight back on again, try and keep it if you lose 10 kilos and you put another 5 kilos back on, you've still lost 5 kilos overall, and that's a positive thing. And it's trying to keep that mindset that's important. There isn't any particular way to lose weight that's any better than the others. I think the thing that's important is you have to find a way that's applicable to you. You have to find a diet that you are going to use, that you're going to find easy to undertake, and don't think of it as a diet. Think of it as something that will be a lifestyle change and something you can maintain in the long term, because that isn't the case for all the diets that are available. The evidence wouldn't suggest that one diet is any particular better than any other. I think what's important is matching the diet to the person who's trying to lose the weight. So weight gain can be related to hormonal problems. There are a few conditions related to cortisol and related to the thyroid that can produce weight gain, but they're relatively uncommon. Most of weight gain is related to genes, can be related to lifestyle, particularly around sedentary behavior and diet. But actually the difference between putting weight on and keeping weight steady is actually quite small. Only 100 to 200 calories a day can make a difference in terms of people putting weight on over a long period of time. And there are lots of things we still don't understand about weight gain and why it affects some people more than it affects others. It's an area of very exciting research, and we're looking into a lot of the endocrine system, so the hormonal systems that happen in the gut, and they seem to offer a lot of potential alternatives to try and keep weight off in the future, but it is something that we still don't understand fully. So I think one of the best ways of knowing that is related to BMI. I know the body mass index, which is something that is used a lot. It has got its critics, and I can understand that. And there are some areas where it is not a very appropriate thing to do. However, for the majority of people, it is. And if your BMI starts to get outside the healthy range, which is from 19 to 25 for those of Caucasian origin, then that's the time to try and seek either medical advice or trying to reduce your weight yourself. And what we're aiming to do is not always get the BMI back to the normal range, which is 25. If you are carrying some weight, then the amount of weight that we're looking to lose is about 5 to 10% of your body weight. That's all. And that's an important thing to remember, because a lot of weight loss is related to the psychology. and your ability to deal with it at a mental point of view. And therefore, if you set yourself a huge top task to try and lose an awful lot of weight, then for most of us, that's impossible. And that has a real big impact on our ability to deal with things psychologically, and we're setting ourselves up to fail. So I think having realistic targets as to how much weight to lose is important, and 5 to 10% is what we should be aiming for. So there are things that we can do for weight management. Again, the best ways of losing weight are with some form of diet and some exercise. Exercise doesn't tend to be great at losing weight, but it's a very good thing to do to try and keep weight stable, either when you've lost weight through a diet, or just you're happy with your weight and you want to keep it that way. The exercise itself also has lots of other benefits that are not related to weight. So that will bring your blood pressure down and reduce your chance of diabetes. It will bring your cholesterol down, even if you don't lose any weight at all. So I think putting exercise into the regime is important. But there are some things that we can also do to help with that weight loss. And these are things that you do alongside the dieting and the exercise. It's not instead of, because we found that that doesn't really work. And most of the evidence is this is used alongside diets. But the most common things that people come across are the surgeries that we do, and they tend to be somewhat extreme, and we tend to use them for people who are carrying an awful lot of weight, those that are morbidly obese with BMIs of 40 and over, or 35 and over if you have some other weight-related condition, such as obstructive sleep apnea or diabetes. Then there is an argument for getting in there earlier and doing those surgeries earlier. And sometimes they can involve gastric bands, which essentially are temporary measures that make the stomach smaller and make it more difficult to eat. But there are others that are more permanent solutions, where we actually replumb the guts, and that has to be something that we take an awful lot of time to think about before we suggest that for people, because that's not reversible and they can often bring their own problems. So that is definitely, if you are considering something like that, that's definitely a time to sort of seek medical help. There are also some medications coming out now. So it is an area that there's never really been very effective medications that have helped to lose weight, though I think we're moving into a different era. A lot of the diabetes medications that we've been using in diabetes for the last 10 years or so have also started to find their way into weight management, because they've also been used in people that don't have diabetes and have encouraged quite significant weight loss. So I think we are moving into an area now where there are some medications that are effective and are safe, that we've actually been using for many years in a different field, that are now available for helping people to lose weight.